Okay, welcome back to Fintech Live Dubai. Time for our next keynote presentation. That's accelerating growth, strategies for market expansion and partnerships. This is with Amnah Ajmal, EVP Market Development EMEA at Mastercard. Hi, Amnah. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Thank you ever so much for joining us today. I know you've got a lot to get through, so the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us today. A very interesting topic. Technology is human and leadership in the age of AI. Technology or digital transformation is a topic that's very close to my heart. I have been a banker for a large part of my career, and now it's interesting because I look after every non-bank across the 80 markets in our region. And when I was a banker, no one wanted to be a bank. And now most of my customers want to enter into financial services. So let's explore this a little bit further. Technology is really changing and making the impossible possible across multiple fronts in many industries. I belong to the financial services industry, technology and payments. So of course, that's an industry that I'm closer to, and that's an industry I know about. But I like to keep myself educated and up to date about how technology is changing and impacting the lives of people beyond financial services. So let me give you an example of the healthcare industry. The amount of information in the healthcare industry doubles every 3 years. So if a physician needs to upgrade their knowledge and skill set, basically they need to study and read for 29 hours a day. This does mean that we need to augment the human intelligence with artificial intelligence or machine intelligence, because we have to figure out a way to keep up to pace with the information that's available in today's time. Now, if we keep sticking to the healthcare industry, overuse of healthcare is a growing problem due to the overdiagnosis caused by the improvements in the sensitivity of the medical detection methods. Let me bring that to life for you. It's estimated that up to 1/3 of cancer diagnosis detected through screening may reflect an overdiagnosis, and 30% of the people who are diagnosed with asthma actually may not ever have the disease of asthma. These are just few examples where machine intelligence, when augmenting the human intelligence, can have incredible results. I deal a lot with emerging markets, and poverty is one of the biggest challenge in the rural areas. And that's one of the reasons those people are not able to get healthcare, because due to the poor quality of the environment, it's hard to retain good quality healthcare professionals. Now there are apps available, thanks to the advancements in technology, where family can actually scan their child and understand the developmental milestones which a child is needing or not needing. And then the app would suggest dietary recommendations or other recommendations for the child to meet those developmental milestones. Imagine the world without technology. If people did not have access to healthcare, there was no way for them to understand their children's developmental milestone. So like this, there are many new technologies which are addressing the healthcare gap in the rural areas, and they're trying to provide an equal access to the world so that the world can be more inclusive. It's a very positive impact that the technology is having on the world. This is just one example in one industry addressing the healthcare gaps. There are multiple such examples across multiple industries where technology is having an incredible impact. So some people say that technology is not human. I would say that technology is human. It's our collective responsibility to make sure that this happens. While all this advancement in technology makes me very, very happy, and I'm thrilled about the perspective of what this technology can do to the world from an inclusiveness point of view, from an innovation standpoint, there's a part of me that is concerned about the future. And let me talk about that. So since in my job, I have to really keep myself up to date about different kind of technologies that's around me. And a large part of leadership in today's world is about unlearning and relearning. And I do that a lot. So So I started experimenting with a few apps so that I can learn more about artificial intelligence, blockchain, new technologies that are coming up. And I was giving a command to an app that actually generates images based on the command that you provided. And the first command that I gave was 4 CEOs are having a conversation in a room filled with an audience, very actively and engaged listening to them. The second was top fintech CEOs having a lunch. These are the 2 images that this app generated, and these are the top app that I'm talking about from an text to image generation perspective. I'm sure you spotted there's something wrong in these pictures. They all have only men. And that's a problem. And that's where the role of leadership, when it is about new technologies and scaling technology, comes in. We have to make sure that there's an equal representation in terms of race, gender, background. I think gender is the one that bothers me the most, because it's historically all the decisions have been made by us as human beings, so we really can't blame the technology. Technology is simply scaling those decisions in a way that was not possible before. I'm a passionate believer that artificial intelligence would redefine every possible industry in every possible way. AI can scale biases we as humans have had for years, and it is a reflection of the decisions we have made. But models can be trained on any data, and this data, for example, contains past human decisions. Now, this is the data that we're inputting, and then there's an output that is being generated. There are ways to make sure that we put in guardrails and frameworks so that the model can be trained on the data, but it can also be trained on the biases that exist in that data set. For example, once a model generates an image of 5 or 4 male fintech CEOs having a lunch, there could be a guardrail which actually corrects that image and adds a woman to that image, right? Now, when we talk about how this work is being done, there's a lot of work happening in this space, and there are some great people, some great leaders who are working in this space. And there's a lot of research that is happening to rectify the models, the output, the kind of human intelligence we can put in to make sure that our biases of the past, which honestly we were not even aware of. Only in the last few years we've been talking about this bias and the self-awareness that we have now. How do we make sure that we augment the machine intelligence with real human intelligence so that the artificial intelligence output is fair? I remain optimistic about the future that we can create with AI, and it would be a beautiful future. But there's a lot that needs to be done before we get there. Let me show you a small video that brings this point of mine to life.
Today we pose this question to new powers, making bets on artificial intelligence, hope towers. The Amazonians peek through windows blocking deep blues as faces increment scars. Old burns, new urns, collecting data chronicling our past, often forgetting to deal with gender, race, and class. Again I ask, ain't I a woman? Face by face, the answers seem uncertain. Young and old, proud icons are dismissed. Can machines ever see my queens as I view them? Can machines ever see our grandmothers as we knew them? Ida B. Wells, data science pioneer, hanging facts, stacking stats on the lynching of humanity, teaching truths hidden in data, each entry and omission, a person worthy of respect. Shirley Chisholm unbought and unbossed the first Black Congresswoman, but not the first to be misunderstood by machines well-versed in data-driven mistakes. Michelle Obama, unabashed and unafraid to wear her crown of history, yet her crown seems a mystery to systems unsure of her hair. A wig, a bouffant, a toupee, maybe not. Are there no words for our braids and our locks? Does relaxed hair and sunny skin make Oprah the first lady? Even for her face well known, some algorithms fault her, echoing sentiments that strong women are men. We laugh, celebrating the successes of our sisters with Serena smiles. No label is worthy of our beauty.
So I love this work of Dr. Joy, and there are many such leaders who are working in this space to make sure that there's an equal representation as technology scales. And I think when I talk about leadership in the age of AI, this is the kind of work that we need to drive collectively to make sure as the technology scales, as it has a positive impact, we do not replicate the biases that we as humans have had for years. So let's come to another element. Technology has made us very social, but has it made us antisocial also? What used to be crowded community parks, they're now filled with silence. There are very few children who you would see without devices, mine are included in it. And most children spend like 75% of their waking lives with their eyes fixed on a screen, according to a recent study that was performed by International Center of Media and Public Agenda. The study also found that students who actually unplugged their electronic devices for a 24-hour period, they felt extremely lonely and they did not know how to fill their time. This is a real problem that we have at hand today. While technology, and we saw it during the period of COVID, connected us, and it was a blessing because we could stay connected to our loved ones. It brought a social element to our life, which was missing before. But the majority of today's generation is not learning how to expand their minds without the use of technology and social media. Social media now plays such an active role in our society that it's almost a worry for most of the parents. Like, gone are the days when I would get on the internet and I would wait for 15 minutes for the browser to load. The speed at which the information is available, the number of devices to which you're connected, the social media platforms, every information, whether it's factual or not factual, is accessible. And social media is no longer an activity on the side. It's where a lot of our next generation's life is centered and anchored around. It's a way of living. Some people just can't have their meal without posting it on Instagram first. So since it is so ingrained in our lives, a part of our leadership responsibility is to understand and put guardrails as to where technology is making us social and where it's making us antisocial. And a huge impact of that is really not on us who are already working out from a different generation, but on the children that we are raising. I was talking to a colleague of mine, and her daughter wanted a pet, and she wanted a cat on Metaverse. In the morning, she feeds the cat, she goes to school, she comes back, and she's having this pet in Metaverse. We grew up with real pets and real gardens, I know of a 12-year-old who bought a virtual garden for $20, watered it, and after 2 months sold it for $80. Well, the great thing is that these kids have business acumen that we really did not have. That's thanks to the information that they're exposed to, thanks to the intellectual community they're surrounded with and they're connected with. The downside is, if we have to make technology human, which is our job as a leadership, how do we protect them such that they get access and connection to technology, but at the same time be present in the moment and have the ability to navigate the world without being completely occupied with the technology. It's another huge element that comes into the picture of privacy and visibility. And a large part of this is when I was being raised, my parents had to protect me only from a real physical environment, whether I was playing in the street or whether I was playing at school. But now with the social media, has a thought ever crossed your mind that is my phone listening to me? It has probably, because I think about a shoe that I want to buy and I log into my Facebook account and that shoe is there advertised in front of me, right? Artificial intelligence tools, personalization, websites can keep track of every user behavior, suggesting content that they think you would enjoy. Through those tools, the positive is that you get customized content. You're happier that it's personalized for you. You're not being exposed to information that's not relevant for you. But there's a real threat of cyberbullying for children, because parents no longer have to protect children in a physical environment. And being a parent, it really bothers me. You have to protect your children in a virtual environment, which you are not part of. So it's no longer the 6 hours of the school, it's actually 24/7. And it's becoming increasingly difficult because to explain to your children what information they put out there, which is visible to the whole world, versus what a privacy means, is very, very difficult. And I think that, again, goes back to my point of technology is human. We as leaders have to make sure that we protect our next generation from the negative impact that the technology can have. So how would I like to summarize my presentation? Certainly, technology is exciting and it's dynamic. It's scaling solutions to the segment of the society who did not have access to these services, be it financial inclusion, be it sustainability, be it healthcare advancement, be it inclusion of women in the workforce. All these are great positive examples of how we can make use of the technology and remain as human as it's possible. But it's the job of us as human leaders to make technology as human as it's possible. I think I talked a lot about some sad aspects of technology, so I would like to end my presentation on a slightly lighter note. So I would leave you with this video, and I'm happy to take questions after this. Thank you.
Playing jazz.
Playing jazz.
Smoothie.
Making smoothie.
Calendar.
No meetings today. Remember?
Dentist.
At 9:30.
Fire off.
Fire off.
Open door.
Door open.
And we're gonna do one more.
Oh, yeah. Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open. Open door.
Repeat that.
Open door.
I didn't understand that.
Hey, open door.
Play on the floor.
Get over the door. Open the door.
Wrong voice command. Error.
Hey, there. With a rock. Open door. Open door. Higher.
Higher volume.
Higher.
Higher.
Thank you very much indeed, Emma. Thank you so much for that. You really opened the lid on so many different aspects here. But just returning to the title of this presentation, there are so many changes ongoing. There are so many issues that businesses are having to compete with. But when it comes to a really expanding market presence in emerging markets, what advice would you really give to people in light of this?
Well, a couple of things. First, I would say that every market is different, and at times people like to club it like Africa or Middle East, but the regulations are different. The maturity stage of the market is different. The adoption of technology is different. The consumer expectations are different. So it's really important to have a strategy to think about which markets you want to focus on. There's no one Mexico or one Brazil. Unlike in Latin America, this region is more fragmented. So you really have to think through which markets you would focus on for the purpose of expansion and new business model development by taking into different factors account. Second, I would say technology is an end use. And first, it's a customer problem. So I always say, think of a customer problem that you're solving for. A great example was that I was meeting someone who had a use case for blockchain. But after 5 minutes of conversation, I was like, but you really don't need blockchain for this. You can just solve it. They're like, yeah, but then how would I use blockchain? So actually the problem is the reverse. You think about a problem for a customer that you want to solve, and then you figure out the technology that would best fit in. And the third, I would say, is the mindset. Many times we are attached to products or services just because historically they have been there, right? It's easy to build new things as opposed to challenge the existing processes and product and say, okay, why do they exist? Can I get rid of them? Are they really required in its current form and structure today? Lastly, I would say we have to learn to surround ourselves with talent that is smarter than us and better than us, because with so much happening around technology, it's impossible to keep up to pace with everything. So you have to surround yourself with different kind of talents and subject matter experts and empower them to drive the vision that you want to achieve for your business.
And one final question, if I may, we are running up to time. And in any of these sort of presentations, I can always guarantee the first question to come in will be along the lines of balance. So if people are trying to accelerate their growth in emerging markets, how do they balance that with maintaining having a competitive edge? The two things have to live in a synchronized way.
Well, I would say that my grandfather used to say that not every problem needs to be solved. And I think we have to have that kind of a mindset, right? Think about what matters the most. And that's what fintechs are great at. They pick one particular problem and they go really deep into it and they solve it beautifully, right? So look at your business from a standpoint of when you talk about balance, what's the most important thing that matters to my customer? And if I solve for it, how much would my business grow? Because that's the only way to look at it, right? At times, it could be an employee lens. Maybe your employees who are engaging with a customer front point, let's say they're toggling between different screens. It doesn't need any innovation. Maybe your backend system needs to change so the employees who are actually dealing with the customers have a more efficient way to answer customer queries. And that would actually drive customer happiness and less calls to you from a customer complaint standpoint, right? So I think the balance is in prioritizing what matters and go deeper into particular problems that need to be solved, but not every problem needs a solution.
That is wonderful, wonderful advice. I'm going to take that for myself personally. So thank you so much for your time, and I really enjoyed you joining us here today at Fintech Live Dubai.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you
so much.